Some houses don't just hold memories. They hold the people who were never allowed to leave. Tonight, you'll hear the story of one such house, a place where shadows whisper, doors breathe, and the walls themselves refuse to forget. This is not just a ghost story. This is a warning. It was late autumn, the kind of evening where the air itself felt heavy with endings. The trees stood like skeletal guardians along the edge of hollow pines, a forgotten town where every whispered rumor seemed to find shelter in the wind. 4 friends gathered at the edge of the woods. Ethan, the skeptic. Mara, the quiet listener. Lucas, always restless with a hunger for thrills. And Claire, the one who insisted they shouldn't be there at all. Beyond the tree line stood the ruins of Ashford Asylum, abandoned for nearly 60 years. The building's silhouette clawed against the horizon, its spires jagged and broken, its windows hollow and unblinking. Lucas smirked, tossing a flashlight between his hands. Tonight's the night. We're going in. No chickening out. Claire crossed her arms, shivering. Places like that, they remember things. My grandmother used to say Ashford wasn't just abandoned. It was locked away. For a reason. Stories, Ethan muttered. Urban legends. Old buildings rot. People make up tales to scare kids. That's all this is. But when Mara finally spoke, her voice was almost a whisper, carried by the wind. My father worked here once. He never talked about it, not once. When he died, I found his journal. The last line said, "Never go past the east wing. That's where the last patient waits." The others went silent. Lucas broke the tension with a laugh, but it was forced. Perfect. Let's find him then. And just like that, they crossed into the shadows of Ashford Asylum. The front doors, once bolted, now gaped open like a wound. Their hinges moaned when Lucas shoved them further. The air inside was damp, thick with the stench of mold and rust. Wallpaper peeled in strips, hanging like flayed skin. Claire gagged. God, it smells like something died in here. Mara shone her light across the grand foyer. Dust swirled in the beam. At the far end, a wheelchair rested alone, its leather cracked, its wheels turned slightly toward them, as if it had been waiting. Ethan forced a laugh. Probably just left here. Nothing creepy about a chair. But the deeper they walked, the more the asylum seemed to move. The floor groaned like it remembered footsteps. Doors creaked, though no breeze touched them. The temperature dropped, cold enough that their breaths puffed in the air. They passed the patient wards, long corridors lined with iron doors, each with a tiny viewing slit. Ethan peeked into one. Inside, the walls were scratched, over and over, in jagged, overlapping words. "Let me out! Let me out! Let me out!" "Lucas," Claire whispered, gripping his arm. "We should leave, right now." But Lucas only grinned, hiding the tremor in his hands. "We came for a story, didn't we?" And then from the east wing, the wing Mara's father had warned about, came the unmistakable sound of footsteps. The east wing door stood sealed with chains, but the links had been cut, as though someone or something had already broken through. Inside, the halls narrowed, darker, the walls stained with something darker than mold. The smell was worse here, sweet and rotten, like spoiled meat. They moved carefully, their lights sweeping across doors, with numbers burned into the wood. Unlike the other wards, these cells had no windows, no slits, only bolts on the outside. Mara stopped at one. Her hand shook as she traced the number. "Room 6A. My father mentioned this one," she whispered. Lucas kicked the door. It rattled but didn't open. "What's the big deal? Some lunatic lived here once?" "No," Mara said. Her face was pale. "He wrote that there was still someone here, the last patient. Before Ethan could scoff, they heard it, a faint sound, a dragging breath, from behind the door. "Guys," Claire whispered, backing away. "That's not possible." The breath grew louder. Then, a voice, hoarse, broken. "I'm still here." The flashlight flickered. The door bolts began to tremble. And then, with a screech of metal, the lock slid open on its own. The door creaked wide. Inside, the darkness seemed thicker than night, swallowing their beams of light. Then they saw it. At first, just a shape hunched in the corner, knees drawn to its chest. Skin pale and stretched tight over bone, hair long and matted. When it lifted its face, the light caught its eyes. Black pits, endless and wet, like holes punched into reality itself. Mara screamed. Ethan staggered back. But the thing only whispered, "You came back. Finally. They promised me someone would." Its voice wasn't just sound. It crawled under their skin, filling their heads with other voices. Screams, sobs, prayers. Lucas tried to laugh, but his voice cracked. "You're not real." The patient moved. Fast. Too fast. Its limbs jerked like broken marionette strings, closing the space between them. The air grew suffocating, heavy with decay. One by one, the asylum came alive. Doors slammed shut behind them. Lights shattered. The wheelchair in the foyer screeched across the floor, as though pushed by invisible hands. The patient's grin widened. "None of you leave, not until I am free." And with that, the doors of room 6A slammed shut again, from the inside. Weeks later, the police searched Ashford Asylum. They found the friends' cars parked at the edge of the woods. Their belongings, their flashlights, dead on the floor. But not a single body. Only the doors to room 6A, freshly bolted shut, and scratched deep into the wood, a new message. "Still here."